Hello, my name is Karina. This is Creative Everyday Life, and in this video I wanted to show you 3 different ways that you can knit socks top down. So the first way is the classic way. This is the first way that socks have been knitted, and this is actually the first way that most things have been knitted, and that is with double pointed needles in the round. And you are using 5 needles. The total stitch count is divided by 4 and puts on the 4 needles, and then you are using the 5th needle to stitch the sock. So this is of course the first way that knitted products have been made. This was the way that sweaters and everything was made before people knew how to knit back and forth. In this way that you actually only need to knit normal stitches for the most part. Of course, it's a good idea to use a rib stitch up top so it will not curl. But other than that, you can just go around. The downside to using this technique is that you will be, if you are not very good at it, you will have either stitches that are too tight or too loose at the 4 points where you are turning. And also, it is a little bit tricky to get started. Another way that you can stitch a sock top down is to use a magic loop. This was of course first possible when cables were invented, but it's a good idea to have quite too long cable so that you can be able to have some of it on both sides when you are knitting. This type of knitting will of course only make it so that there are 2 points where you are starting again. So there are only 2 points where you have to be really careful. And it's actually very easy when you just get the hang of it. I actually do the same thing for sleeves and for the collar and stuff like that, because I don't want to use the 5 double-pointed needle for that particular job. I find it a lot easier to just use the magic loop, as you can tell by some of my videos. But the way that you are using magic loop is simply to have too much in the one end, and then you are divided the stitches in 2, half on each side. And when you are starting, you will put the starting needle way back so that you will be able to make the second loop in the other side. So the idea is just to have a little bit too much on each side of the sock or whatever you're using this technique for, and then you can just knit it across the one way and then flip it and knit the other side. So, the third way that you can knit socks is to knit them 2 at a time. This technique I'm using the magic loop as well, and you can always change it. Just knit with the new cable, or if you are going back to double pointed needles, just knit across with those. But otherwise, as you can tell, I will just knit the stitches from 2 of the needles on the one side and then the other 2 of the needles on the other side. This way I will have roughly the same on both sides. And when you are knitting 2 socks at a time, you will have the middle part where the 2 socks are meeting. That will be where you are changing the yarn, and you need to use 2 different balls of yarn so they will not get tangled. I will not recommend this when you are using 2 colors. It is simply you will need at least the 4 balls of yarn if you're using 2 colors in the pattern, and it's a bit much to keep track of. I have tried to knit at both ends of the yarn, and that is totally possible. You can start at the middle and on the outer part of the yarn ball, and then knit socks or sleeves that way to be sure you have enough. But if there are more colors than that, it simply gets too tangled. You can of course use 4 balls of yarn, so you have the colors 2 different places. But remember that you have to flip the entire work every time that you have made half of the socks, and then you will knit the other half. This technique is very good when you want it to be exactly the same, and you don't want to make a mistake like not increasing or decreasing the same amount, or if you're afraid you'll run out of yarn and you want to make sure that they are that there is the same amount of the color on both socks or sleeves or whatever you are making. Of course, this is also very nice that you get done at the same time. But the socks, of course, take twice as long to knit because you are knitting 2 socks at once. So, well. So this was the 3 different ways that you can knit socks, top down. Do you know any other ways? Please let me know in the comments. I know that you can knit from the toe up instead. I have not tried that with knitting. I have tried to crochet from the toe up. But let me know if you like to knit the socks top down or toe up in the comments. And I hope this was very helpful and gave you a couple of ideas on how to knit socks. And hey, if you want the pattern for this socks, They are in the last video I made, I gave away the pattern for free. This is a pattern I made for my friend Pernille, and for her birthday, and she really likes them. So if you want to make something like this or give it as a gift, yeah, you can have the pattern for free. Have a very nice day, and God bless you.